Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. I shall bow down to the king among the ascetics, whose splendor is like sun, who has descended on this earth to disseminate the knowledge, to redeem to remove all the afflictions and the difficulties of the beings. To such Swami Vivekananda, I shall bow down my prostrations to that Swami Vivekananda. Dear devotees, we were discussing about Swami Vivekananda's Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action. It is a beautiful work given by Swami Vivekananda for the betterment of the humankind. Every one of us, from dawn to dusk, from our birth to death, we have to work. We have to perform action and we have to do our karma. But sometimes karma is taken as bondage, karma is taken as cumbersome. Some people view that karma as a boredom, and some people use the karma as the tool to develop their personality, to develop their willpower, and someone takes the karma as the path to reach the God or to reach the self. And in my previous class, I did tell why should we do karma? Why should we do action, or why should we perform our action? If we ask anyone, immediately we say, oh, because for our livelihood. Unfortunately, we have reduced or we have limited the role of karma. Whereas Swami Vivekananda, in his lectures, in the first lesson, Karma and its effect on character, he gives the importance and the role of karma, how by karma one's personality is developed, one's willpower is developed, how by karma one's willpower can be increased, and how the society, the civilizations are manifested. And great people like Buddha, Jesus Christ, all these people are nothing but manifestations of willpower, and that has been created by karma. After describing the role and effect of karma at individual level and also at the society level, Swami Vivekananda started to describe now different motives behind the karma. We did discuss in our previous class that generally when we say the dexterity in the work, we have got external as well as the internal, two aspects. The external motives are nothing but the skills, whatever we say, and we have seen in the previous class. And today, we would like to see or listen or understand the internal aspect of the motives. We all need motivation to take care of our life, to reach our goals, to reach our targets. We need motivation. The motivation is such a power by which it will use as a catalyst to reach our goals. And this motive power is very important. And Swami Vivekananda is saying that we have to take care of the motives also. So before going to in detail, I would like to bring a story of a monk. His name is Revered Swami Chid Bhavanand Ji Maharaj. He was the disciple of Revered Swami Shivanji Maharaj, who was the apostle of Sri Ramakrishna. Swami Chidbhavanji Maharaj, in the state called Tamil Nadu, in the southern part of India, he built his own ashram. He had to go house to house for begging every penny he collected, and with lot of dedication, with lot of commitment, hard work, he built the ashram. After a decade or so, the ashram was well settled. He had his own disciples, good amount of devotees, brahmacharis, the novices, and as well as the monks. So by that time he was also a bit old, maybe he was nearing to 60s. And since he had a disciples, he had allowed them to take care of the work, to take care of the daily activities of ashram. And he concentrated his time and his energy for more study and contemplation and disseminating the ideas. One fine day in Tamil Nadu, there was a huge rain, torrents of rain. There was so much rain, everywhere there were floods. And due to the floods, the water did rush into ashram. And since the whole village was flooded with water, there was no place left over where there is no water. And in the ashram also the water had entered. The coconuts, the furnitures, all they were getting carried over by the water current. The manager Swami, the young novices, and some workers, everyone were trying to hold these furnitures, coconuts, and etc. The things which is belonging to ashram. In the first floor, Swamiji, without knowing all these things, in spite of having their heavy rain, he was not bothered about all these things. Just he was merged himself in the serious study. When he sits for study, he gives his mind complete there. Probably he was a master, he had a good amount of concentration. So he was not bothered, or the torrents of rain never disturbed him. The manager Swami sent one or two novices to Swami Chidbhavanji Maharaj and you inform him this is what happening. Then they went and they opened the door. Though they made some sound while opening the door, but that sound didn't disturb Swamiji. And he was immersed himself in studies. There is a huge rain. There is a lot of rain is happening outside with thunder and lightning. They went and they stood nearby, 2 minutes over, 3 minutes over, 5 minutes over. He is unaware the two novices, two brahmacharis have come. Then they understood that he is unable to recognize us. They started making a sound, sort of sound to bring the attention. After some time, then Chidbhavanji raised his head and saw the two novices are standing in front of him. He asked, "What?" With a fear mixed with a respect, the two novices said, "Manager Swamiji asked us to inform you that there is a huge rain." "Yes, I am able to see through the windows. There is a torrent of rain. Fine. What do you want me to do?" Again, because these youngsters and they had a fear little, they were with a shaky voice. They said that furnitures are getting washed over from the currents, rain current. So Swamiji asked you to inform. Then he very gravely, he looked the two brahmacharis' face and he said, "Oh, is it? Okay, you can go." He built that ashram. He did lot of labor, lot of sweating he has done. House to house, he has went and he has collected the penny and he has built the ashram. And the furnitures and coconuts and etc. are getting washed over by the current. He was never shocked. He never reacted. He never said, "Is it? Okay, come, let us go and immediately we stop it, let us stop it." He didn't do anything. He didn't react. Rather, he said, "Okay, is it?" Then the novices, they came down and they also started with other people to try to hold back the furnitures and other things of the ashram. After maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, the Swami came down and he observed that some monks and brahmacharis and workers, everyone, they are trying to hold the furnitures and other things of the ashram. And there are 2, 3 small boys also were there. Probably they were the children of the workers. And the coconuts were also getting washed from this water current, rain water current. He started holding them, and the Swamiji started playing with that boy's catch. You see, there's again rain, water has come inside, and everything is getting washed away. He himself is the person who built the ashram. So when he has built the ashram, literally he will be knowing how much pain he might have taken, what is the worth of it, what is the value of the every brick. But he was not bothered at all. Just as if nothing has happened, just he started playing catch with the boys with the coconuts. And the manager Swami, other monks and the brahmacharis, they were all felt astonished to see the behavior and nature of that Swami. Then after few hours, rain got subsided, slowly things became normal. After 1 or 2 days, one of the novice, he asked Swamiji, we all know that how much you have put your hard difficulty, how much with the difficulties you built this ashram. And you did build this, in front of you the things were getting washed, but you were not perturbed, you were not bothered, and rather you were playing catch with the boys with the coconuts. How is it that so? He said, do you think that I did build this ashrama for my sake? No. Do you think that I built this ashrama to establish my name or to bring name and fame, power, position? No. I did build this ashrama, or rather, Sri Ramakrishna, my master, made me as an instrument to build this ashrama for the betterment of the people, for the service of the society. And as an instrument, I have done my work. That's it. So it is not that this ashrama belongs to me. I am the owner of this ashrama. I am mere instrument. And this is the abode of Sri Ramakrishna, where Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sharda Devi, and Swami Vivekananda, they are residing here, and we are all the children of them. So there, the sense of kartrutva, I am the doer, is not there. And we all go behind the success. If anything is success, we feel that, yes, I am the reason for it. I am the cause for it. I am the source for it. But he was never. He felt that I am an instrument in the Lord's hand, and I have done. I am just instrument. The I-ness and mine-ness, aham and mama, ahankara and mamakara, we tell in Sanskrit. I did it, and this whole work, this whole project belonged to me because I did it. So this I-ness and mine-ness was completely absent in Swamiji, that Swami Chidbhavananji. As a result, even in front of him, the things were going away. He never bothered. It never disturbed. He never reacted. He was not morose. Why? Because the sense of belongingness was not there. This is what when Swami Vivekananda says that our motives matter a lot. Everyone is doing work, no doubt. Everyone is trying to be perfect, no doubt. Everyone is, according to their capacities, they are working, no doubt. When Swami Vivekananda says that, but in the case with lot of people, the energy is getting frittering away. He uses the particular word. The energy is getting wasted. How? Because of the motives. And he gives an example. He gives the list. Some work just for livelihood. And some work to get the name and fame. Some work for power and position. And some work for work's sake. And some work for the betterment of the society. So there are different steps at different levels. So when I am working myself just for my livelihood, the circumference of my work is limited. That means the manifestation of my willpower will be limited. So lot of amount of energy is getting wasted. That's what frittering away says. So when I am working for power position, again it will be a little more. My circumference is been extended. So my manifestation of willpower is also extended or is increased, and the loss of energy will be decreased. When I am working for name and fame, again, my circumference has been increased, so the loss of energy is decreased. When I work for the betterment of the society, when I work for work's sake, when I work for the to serve the society, to help the people, the circumference has become to the larger extent. So the loss of energy has been minimized to larger extent. That's what Swami Vivekananda is saying, and we can see very clearly in the life of Swami Chidbhavanji Maharaj. The same thing very clearly we can see in Mahabharata war. In the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra, because he was born blind, he asked Sanjaya, Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samavetayu Yutsavaha Mamakah Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. O Sanjaya, please tell me what is happening in the Kurukshetra, which is also a Dharmakshetra, the place of to practice the religion, to practice their duties, people have assembled. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samavetayu Utsavaha. They've all assembled for what? To have a cup of tea? To dine? No. Because they're all interested in war. They're all interested in battle. Yutsava. Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva. The son of Pandus, Pandu Maharaja, they are called Pandavas. And my children are called Kauravas for comparison. So Mamakaha, my children, and Pandu's children. So here that Ahankara and Mamakara was there, that is the reason Kurukshetra war happened externally, and because Ahankara and Mamakara, I-ness and minus is there in me, that's why the Kurukshetra war is happening in me daily. The battle between good and bad, right and wrong, selfishness and unselfishness, it is happening continuously in me. Kurukshetra war happened once, but the Kurukshetra war happening is in us every day. There's a constant fight between good and bad, right and wrong, happiness and unhappiness, with selfishness and unselfishness in us. As we all common people who have been little awakened, where our conscious has been awakened, then this drift, this conscious war, conscious struggle will be happening. So that's what Swami Vivekananda is saying. The salt of the earth is those people who work for work's sake. They're not working for livelihood, means motive. Yes, someone may be working because they have to support their family, but the motive is not for money itself. The motive is not for name and fame. The motives are not for power position getting. The motives are not to become the celebrities. The motive is work for work's sake, just for good purpose. Why? Because that is my nature. I have to be good, and I have to be good, and I have to do good. That is my nature. That is which is, I can be nearer to myself. That is Atman or Brahman. So I work for work's sake. I don't anticipate anything in return. These are the people who are the salt of the earth, who are the cream of the earth. And when you can perform the work in this particular way, what happens? Your energy loss is being minimized. Now, the question comes for every one of us. How is it possible? Without expecting any results, how can we work? Now, I'm working in a company. I'm working in a school. I'm working in a college. I'm working in an office. So does it mean that I should not expect any results, or I should not expect my salary? So this question will obviously come. So when we say that you have got right to action or work or for karma, not for fruits of action, that is karma phala, we don't mean this. That, okay, you should work, but you should not expect for the salary. No, we don't mean that. Yes, we need salary because to take care of our mundane life. Then that means I have to work, that's it. But I don't bother whether it is success or whether it is failure or whether it happens well, it happens right, it happens with the perfection. Is it that? No, even that we don't say that. We don't mean that. Definitely we should aspire for the success. Whatever the project I have taken, whatever the work I have taken, that should attain the success. Means the work should be perfect from all sides. Then what do we mean when you say that you should not aspire for fruits of action? When we say that you should not aspire for fruits of action just for name and fame, just for power and position, just for money, just for self ego, we should not work. That's what we mean. And probably one more example I can give from the life of Swami Bhuteshanji Maharaj. Swamiji is the Sangha Guru. He was president of the whole Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. He was in Belur Math, which is the headquarters of Ramakrishna Math and Mission, which is in Calcutta, near Calcutta in West Bengal. One lady devotee came and she was initiated devotee of Swamiji. She sought his blessings and he blessed, may the good be upon you, may Holy Mother's blessings on you. Maharaj blessed her. And she said, Maharaj, I've got a prayer. Please, you should fulfill my prayers. And you should bless me that my prayers are answered. Then Maharaj asked, oh, is it? What is your prayer? She asked, Maharaj, my husband is doctor. Please bless him. Please bless him that let him have a good practice. Immediately we say, yes, okay, let it be so. Your desire is fulfilled. But Swamiji said, no, I cannot bless. Everyone were dumbfounded. And she also took aback. Maharaj, what is this? You don't want to bless my husband that let his practice go well? No. Then with all fear, probably with a sorrow mind or sorrow face, she asked, why Maharaj? Then Swami Bhuteshanji Maharaj, he said that, see, if I bless your husband that let his practice go well, that means what? More and more patients should come to hospital. Or more and more patients should come to your husband. No, I cannot bless because I want everyone to be healthy. I want everyone to be cheerful. I want everyone to be happy. Everyone want to be blissful. So I cannot bless your husband like that. He should have a good practice. See, this is what the difference between when we say we should aspire for fruits of action. For example, if some solicitor comes, a lawyer comes, and if he asks us, Swamiji, please bless us. Please bless me that I should have a good practice. That means what? More and more people should go to court for some things. Then definitely we cannot bless him saying that you should have a good practice. You should have a good practice. So this is what when we say that we should not aspire for fruits of action. I should work for perfection, no doubt. I should see that all my projects, all my work should reach the success, should attain the success, should get the success. But that should not be the only goal of our work or of our intention or of our motive. Rather that from all these things, let the society be benefited. Let the people be benefited. Let the humankind be benefited. Such motive is the greatest motive. When we have such type of motives, what happens? Many people will be benefited and the danger of becoming a selfish will be checked to larger extent. Second point. Third point, I will have a magnanimous mind. I will have a very broad mind, which is called unselfishness. When we have unselfishness, when we have a broad mind, what happens? As I told already, logically, that my circumference of the work or the circumference of the work field gets increased. So what happens? The manifestation of my willpower will be also increased simultaneously. Once my manifestation of willpower is increased, then I'll be able to reach the God. I'll be able to reach the success. I'll be able to attain the things, whatever I wish. That's why Swami Vivekananda says, unselfishness is more paying, but people don't have patience to practice it. And how can we see this? If you see the life of Sri Ramakrishna, if you see the life of Holy Mother Sharda Devi, and if you see the life of Swami Vivekananda, Lord Buddha, Jesus Christ, maybe Saint Francis of Assisi, all these people life, if you see, their life was dedicated for the betterment of society. And they were most unselfish people. Probably one story goes like this. He was a common civilian where he comes from a middle class. Once just he was walking in the road. And there he saw there 10-15 people were surrounded. Then he also goes and peeps in. There is a small boy, maybe 15, 20 years boy. He had met with an accident. There's a lot of blood is oozing out, and people are seeing, because it may become police case, Gada case. They don't want anyone to take for hospital. Unfortunate, inhuman, of course. Immediately, this fellow, he took that small boy. He got into the taxi and he rushed to hospital. And he said, he has met with an accident. Can you do him something? So he was taken to the emergency care, and care was taken, and he had to sign, and he signed as a guardian. And he had to pay some money also. He paid, and 2-3 days he took care of him. Afterwards, he left this boy to his home. And 20-30 years over, this man has become old man, and he just led a normal life. He didn't have much savings, and he didn't have any siblings. Now he has become old. As age-old problems has come in, creeped in his health also. So once, with the help of neighbor, he came to an hospital. And he was diagnosed some particular disease, and he has to be operated. For that, thousands of euros will be there. Thousands of euros he has to pay. Then this fellow said, I don't have so much money. Better leave it. Whatever God wishes, let it so happen. Then he said, and just he was about to leave, the young doctor was passing by. He saw this old man, and immediately he asked the receptionist, what is the problem with this old man? She said, oh, doctor, he has got this particular problem. He has to be operated, and for that, so much euros will be cost. But he said that he is from poor background or a middle class background. He doesn't have so much money. As a result, he said that I can't get it operated. Fine. And he's about to leave now, and he's waiting for his neighbor to come. Then immediately the doctor said, whatever is the money has to be paid, I will pay. And of course, I am going to operate also. My charges I will waive off, and whatever the bed charges, hospital charges are there, I am ready to pay. Please take him. And his neighbor came, and both of these people were supposed to leave. Immediately the receptionist, she came and said, Mr. So-and-so, please, tomorrow or day after, you can come and admit into the hospital. Immediately this fellow got little disturbed. He said, see, I have already said that I don't have money. So why are you pestering me again and again? You people want probably some money, but I don't have money. So let me go away, please. Then the receptionist said, no, sir, someone is paying for you, it seems. So as a result, the operation has been fixed for you. Please don't bother. Please come. And this old man, he didn't believe it initially. He asked her again and again, are you sure? Are you mistaking someone for me and all? Again and again she said, no sir, you are the right person, you are the person, and doctor has said you will be operated, etc., etc. But for his astonishment, he didn't know how it happens. He thought that it is a miracle or it is a God's grace, and he went back. He brought some of his clothes and some preparations. After a day or two, he came back. And he was operated. Operation was success. After a day, when anesthesia effect and all came down, he was okay. And one young chap, one of the famous doctor, he came and he was looking into his sheet, and he said everything is fine. And he asked the young doctor, he asked old man, sir, do you remember me? And this old man with a poor vision, he said, no, I don't remember. And I don't think that I have seen you anywhere. First time I'm seeing you. Then the nurse, she said, sir, he's the person who operated you. Then the old man said, is it? Okay, thank you, doctor, for your operation. Then with all smiling, the young doctor says, my dear sir, respected sir, because probably you don't remember me. 3 decades before, you gave me the life. That's the reason today I'm living. This old man, he had forgotten about the incident which happened 3 decades before. He started scratching his head and he asked, can you tell me something I'm unable to link? I'm unable to understand. He said, sir, do you remember 3 decades before, a small young chap, he met with an accident and blood was profusely, it was oozing out, and you admitted into hospital and you took care of him. After 3 days, you took him to his house. Do you remember? Then this old man started scratching his memory and slowly said, yes, now I'm remembering something. Yes, I did. And I am that man. I am that young chap whom you gave the life 3 decades before. And the tears rolled down to this old man. 3 decades before, I gave a life for him, and today he gave me the life. This is the same idea, a grand idea we can see in Bhagavad Gita. And this has been assured by the Lord. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even people who practices even little dharma, they will be saved from the great dangers, from great dangers. This we can see very clearly in the life of such people. So, what happens when I practice goodness? What happens when I am ethical? What happens when I do charity? What happens when I help for the betterment of the society? And what happens when I do God's work? Such questions does ponder us. Such questions does haunt us. Here is the answer. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So Amji goes to such an extent saying that in the first place, a man who can work for 5 days or even for 5 minutes without any selfish motive whatever, without thinking of future, of heaven, of punishment, or anything of the kind, has in him the capacity to become a powerful moral giant. It is hard to do it, but in the heart of our hearts, we know its value and the good it brings. It is the greatest manifestation of power, the Swami Vivekananda says. So when we can work for unselfishness, with all unselfishness and without bothering for the fruits of action, then our willpower is manifested to the larger extent, and the the energy of the loss of energy is minimized, then our personality will be grown. That's what we can see in the life of all the great people. So similarly, we can see in the life of Dadichi. Dadichi was the great sage, and he was known for his absolute practice of celibacy. Not a single wrong thought, bad thought has crossed his mind. That was the greatness of Dadichi. And he has done a lot of great penance. He has never told lie. And once a demon has to be slain, he has to be killed. He had such a boon from the Lord Brahma, there was no other way except getting the backbone of this Dadichi. So the Lord Indra approaches Dadichi and he says, "Oh sage, you know that particular Rakshasa, demon, who is giving lot of problems, troubles for the humankind." Dadichi says, "Yes, I'm aware of it. I'm sorry to say this and ask this. From your backbone, if we can prepare a weapon, from that only we'll be able to kill him, otherwise not. So can you help us?" Now you imagine, if someone is asking for my backbone, that means what? I have to end my life. And the Lord Indra, he approaches Dadichi and asks, can you share your backbone, or can you give your backbone? The Dadichi says, yes. Any of this body is going to be turned into ashes today or tomorrow. From this bone which is made up of soil, if it is helping the humankind, why not? I feel I am blessed. Immediately, with the help of his yogic power, he left his mortal coil. And the Lord Indra, he took his backbone. From that, the weapon was made, and the particular demon was killed. And Dadichi never asked, never questioned, or probably never a thought lingered in his mind. Okay, by by giving my backbone to him, or by renouncing my life, what I am going to get, what I am going to achieve. Name, fame, power, position, or the place in the heaven, or place in the upper worlds. No, no such thought came in the mind of Dadichi. That's why even today, after thousands of years in India, people do remember the sacrifice of Dadichi. Why? Because of his unselfishness and because of his magnanimous heart. And same thing we can see in the life of Krishna also. Krishna was born in jail, And so much problems he had to face. We have seen 12 years he was away from his biological mother. After 12 years, again he had to slay or kill Kamsa, and he saw his mother and father first time. But he was never a pessimistic, and he never cursed either the empire, either the fate, either the people, no one. But he was always optimistic. And whole of his life, after killing the Kamsa, easily could have been the king, but he never became the king. Rather, he brought back the father of the Kamsa, and he made him to, and he asked him to be he continue his kingship. And so many places, either he killed or he got killed. So many wrong people, wicked people, bad people, but in nowhere, in no place, he became the king. Either their children, their grandchildren, or their brothers. Even one place, I think, king was killed because of his bad actions, wrong actions. They didn't have siblings, or he had a very small boy or girl was there. In that place, Sri Krishna brought the wife of the particular king, and he coronated her. Today we all speak of women empowerment, that male and female are equal, everyone should work, everyone should have equal opportunities, we all say. And we can see in the life of Sri Krishna, where because there were no siblings, or even if they were minor, there's a reason Sri Krishna, instead of being himself as a king, or he could have brought someone else to as a king. Instead of that, you are fit enough, so you be the queen and you take care of the whole country's administration. So we can see in the life of Sri Krishna. And nowhere he became the king, rather he was the king maker. And why? Just to establish dharma and to protect the right people, to protect the right, and to punish the wrong people or wicked people. That's what. Dharma samstapana was the only his intention, and not for anything else. Again, neither for name, fame, power, position, whatever the desires generally we aspire for. And no desire was there lingering in the Sri Krishna's mind. What a magnanimous heart Sri Krishna had. And in spite of that, he had to face severe criticisms. He had to face curse. He has to receive curse from Mother Gandhari, the Queen Gandhari. Everything he accepted. But he was completely detached. There's a reason neither praise nor criticisms, nor the curse of the Gandhari, nothing shook the mind of the Krishna. At all times, he had an equiposed mind. Why? Because he is the greatest karma yogi. And afterwards, Swami Vivekananda is making one more beautiful observation and statement that we need a self-control, or mind control. One who has got a control of the mind, he or she can do better things. The self-restraint is very, very important. And he says that self-restraint is a manifestation of greater power than all outgoing action. And he gives an example. A carriage with 4 horses may rest down a hill unrestrained, or the coachman may curb the horses. So you tell me, which is the greater manifestation of power, to let them go or to hold them? I can do big, big works. I can finish big, big projects. No doubt, manifestation of willpower is more in that. But if I can control my mind, and if I can channelize my mind in a right way, the manifestation of willpower is much more. And such type of people will have more strong will. That's what Swami Vivekananda mean. So you have to be a spiritual person. I would like to be a spiritual person. If I don't have a control of the mind, you cannot be the spiritual person. I want to practice karma yoga. I wish to practice karma yoga, and you say that I don't have a control of the mind, then definitely it is not possible. So for anything to be successful, either in the mundane matters or in the spiritual matters, we need control of the mind. And probably the simple example we can say, building a dam across the river. Before building the dam across the river was there, the water was flowing on the bank of the river, whatever the villages or maybe some factories and the fields, what were there, they were all able to draw the water. In rainy season, it has to be a lot of force, and in summer, either there may be very thin water or no water at all. If someone in a right place, if we can build the dam, and if we can store the water, and through channels, if we can tap the water for larger people and for larger areas of irrigation and farming, we can use the same water. So did the engineer create the water just like God creates? Did the engineer created the water? No. What did he do? Just he checked the flow of water, which was just getting merged into the sea. He checked the wastage of water and he channelized it. This is what. One is self-control is nothing but the building the dam and doing the using the controlled mind power of the mind in a right way is nothing but the channelization of oneself. This is what we need it. Controlling the mind at the same time channelizing our mind power in a right way, in a right direction. These two things has to happen simultaneously. I've controlled my mind, but I'm keeping quiet. Now what to do? Again, the problem comes. Because mind needs some support. Mind is like a creeper. It needs some support where it can rely upon. Whatever the thoughts you give, whatever the ideas you give, on that the mind resides. That's the reason you have to control the mind, and also at the same time it has to be channelized in a right way, in the right direction. And that's what Swami Vivekananda is saying, that controlling of the mind is very much necessary, and there the manifestation of willpower is done more. And he also says that all outgoing energy flowing a selfish motive is frittered away. It will not cause power to return to you, but if restrained, it will result in development of a power. This self-control will tend to produce a mighty will, a character which makes a Christ or a Buddha. We have to have a self-control, and also we have to channelize the power of the mind in a right way, in a constructive way, in a positive way, in the developing way. Then we can become like a Buddha or the Christ. Whereas the same work, if we are using just to get the livelihood, to get the bread and butter, to get the name and fame, power, position, all these things, so lot of energy is getting frittered away. Lot of energy is getting wasted. That's what Swami Vivekananda says. So once your motives become finer, once your motives is getting extended, it is getting universalized, is getting expanded, then the loss of energy is reduced. And also at the same time, your energy will be increased and your willpower will be increased. So that what happens? You'll be nearer to God, you'll be nearer to self, you'll be nearer to your own self. That's what Swami Vivekananda says. And also Swami Vivekananda says that, but unfortunately, after saying all this, people doesn't have proper perception because they have been blinded by different colors. Maybe lust, anger, so on and so forth, they're unable to understand. Just a little narrow circle, that is our world, and we have not the patience to look beyond and thus become immoral and wicked. This is our weakness, our powerlessness. Because my vision is blurred, my vision is narrow, so beyond that I am unable to see. That's the reason we are becoming selfish, and we feel that selfishness is more pain. Or all the good people, all the righteous people, they suffered more. That's the reason it is better not to become good people. Rather, it is better to become wicked people, bad people, or mediocre people. Such type of thoughts do linger in the minds of many people. That's what Swami Vivekananda is saying, that because we have got narrow vision, we have to expand our vision. We have to remove the prejudice. We have to remove the delusion. We have to remove the superimpositions. Then what happens? When our visions get widened, then we can do things better. Our perception changes. This is the view in Advaita, Drushti Srushtivada and Srushti Drushtivada, the two main concepts which is discussed very much in the Advaita Vedanta. And also Swamiji gives one more example, or he gives a rationale behind why we should not expect for fruits of action alone. When your mind is after this, what happens? Your mind gets agitated, then you will not be able to do the work. Just for an example, I am a cricketer. Now I am holding the bat and I am waiting for the ball. If I am thinking always that whether I will be successful or not, whether I will be able to score good runs or not, whether I'll be able to cross over the century or not. If I'm this thought is very strong in me, and if my mind has taken over this type of thoughts, definitely I'll not be able to concentrate my mind while playing. Instead of that, whether I'll be successful or not, whether I'll be duck out or whether I'll cross century or whether I'll cross 50, whatever it may be, let me give my mind completely and to play. With such type of mindset, my concentration will be beautiful, then I'll be able to play. I'll be able to face the ball. Instead of that, whether I'll be successful or unsuccessful, whether I'll have a duck out or whether I'll be LBW or whether I will cross 100 runs, such type of always bothered about the fruits of action, what happens? Then the concentration will not be complete, then the quality of the work, the quality of the match, the quality of the play will be hampered. That's what Swami Vivekananda is giving in a rational bit. If you go on bothering about the fruits of action, definitely you will not be able to do the work properly. The success will not be yours. Even for an example, I am participating in a play. I'm enacting on the stage. If I'm always, obviously, if you're conscious, how will my body actions will be, whether people are aware of it or not, how people look, and whether I will be rightful or wrong, whether I will be successful or not, whether I will be praised or whether I will be blamed for my play, for my enacting. If such type of thoughts are haunting my mind, definitely I cannot give a better performance. Instead of that, keeping all these things, all these thoughts aside, okay, I've taken this job to my extent possible, to my capacity, whatever is possible, let me do it properly. Give my mind completely to that particular work and completely if I performing, then definitely I will be bound to be successful. I will be bound to do things better. So that's what Swami Vivekananda is saying. Even from rational point of view, from logical point of view, or from psychological point of view, if you're go on thinking about the fruits of action, you cannot be a good performer. There will be a lot of energy getting wasted because you'll be tensed, your mind will be agitated, so on and so forth. And now the next he gives a picture of the ideal man. Probably this same idea has been discussed by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Karmanya karma yah pashed akarmani cha karma yah sabuddhiman manusheshu sayukta krishna karma krita. He is the intelligent person. He is the wise person. Who is the wise person? He is the wise person who can see action in inaction and inaction in action. He is the wise person. So in Bhagavad Gita, there are few places where people get stuck. How can is that? Is the wise person, it seems, who can see action in inaction and inaction in action. How? He is the wise person, according to Lord Krishna, and Swami Vivekananda says that the same idea has been given by Swami Vivekananda also now, and he says that he is the ideal man and he is the ideal karma yogi. If someone wants to practice the path of selfless action, if he wants to take this path of selfless action, and if he wants to be the ideal karma yogi, for him, in the midst of the busy, hectic schedule, his mind should be calm, or his mind should feel that there is no action at all. And even if he is in the desert or if he is in the caves, if he is in the cave, he will be intense active. He is in the bazaar, at the same time is not active at all. And whereas the same person, he is in the cave, maybe he's in the Himalayas, but at the same time is intensely active. Such type of people are ideal people. He is the ideal karma yogi. Definitely it needs a good amount of explanation, I know. So in the next class, I shall take the explanation of who is ideal man, why is ideal man, what do we mean by seeing the action in inaction and inaction in action, which likes tautology, which likes opposites, but it is the truth. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.